have a different view. Take off inferiority, put on superiority, and walk in the authority God gave you. The spirit of humility will draw down God's ability and bring you to nobility, chosen few. Oh, hey. The shadow of a doubt will have no place under the brightness of your faith, and your mustard seed shall become a forest strong in the kingdom God made you. You gotta take off superiority, put on superiority, and walk the authority God gave you. Oh, the spirit of humility will draw down God's ability, bring you to nobility, chosen few. Arise and shine, for your light has finally come. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Rise and shine, your light has finally come. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Lift up your hands and dance in your kingdom. Your kingdom is finally here. Thy kingdom come, and thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, in heaven, in heaven. Put on superiority and walk the authority God gave you. Oh, the spirit of humility draw down God's ability, bring you to nobility, chosen few. Chosen few. Inferiority, superiority, and walk the authority God gave you. Oh, the spirit of humility will draw down God's ability and bring you to nobility, chosen few. Take off, put on, and walk in the authority my God gave you. Oh, the spirit will draw down and bring you to nobility, chosen few. Take it off, put it on. Hey, God gave you. Oh, the spirit will draw down God's ability and bring you to nobility, chosen few. La 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 la. Woo! Yes, it's inside of me, inside of you, inside of me. Superman, I know I can. Yes, you can. God made me a Superman. Oh yeah, I know what you got. You know what I got. Yeah, we all got potential. Yeah, we may not all have money, but we all got potential. Potential to be anything that we can dream. Yeah, so get ready. Here we go. Whoever dreamed that I could be a great example of what man can achieve. If he believes and pursues that dream in time.
Wow and wow. Greetings, greetings, peace, salutations, and blessings to each and every one of you that's coming on board right now. Welcome, welcome, welcome to tonight's Kingdom Conversation, the International Bible Study with me, your host, Bishop Wayne Malcolm, the business bishop. Always excited and delighted to be a part of your life and legacy through this ministry. I want to thank God for those of you who have carved out the time on a weekly basis to be with us live. I honor you and celebrate you. And for those of you that catch the replays, well, we honor you and celebrate each and every one of you. We are certainly having a blast, and this week we're taking it to another level because we started a series last week entitled Creating Your World. And I know from all the comments and the feedback and even just the number of views that we've had, I know that that session was a blessing because I think it demystified something, perhaps unveiled or unpacked a very important kingdom biblical idea. And last week, I guess we asked the question, is it even okay for me to go about creating my own world? I guess a lot of people are not sure, kind of conflicted in this matter, because what we want more than anything else is the will of God. Okay, we want the will of God. So what we did in the last session was we really broke down the will of God in an attempt to help us understand the wide spectrum of choices that are available to you within the parameters of God's perfect will and master plan. And that hopefully gave us a little bit of liberty to go about designing a future. All right. Designing a life that honors God and that fulfills you. Designing a life that serves the kingdom, that serves your generation, that serves your seed, offspring, legacy, and at the same time serving the interests of heaven on earth. So I think it was an epic session, and if you missed it, you want to catch up because it's going to give some context to what we're going to deal with tonight. Okay, let me just run a few checks here and tell you about my sound effects, because I do use sound effects. Now, if I say something that I feel constitutes a light bulb moment, an epiphany, an opening of the understanding, then you're going to hear this sound. All right. And then if I say something that I'm really excited about myself, and if I think we should all be excited about it. All right, so these are my main sound effects. I do have some more sound effects, and hopefully I'll be adding some more sound effects to the library. Let me say to those that are coming on for the first time, second, third time, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe right now. Just subscribe to our channel because we're posting 3 times a week at least, and I've just started posting shorts, so please do subscribe to the channel. Secondly, I want you to like the post. All right, just please go ahead and click like, and certainly let YouTube know that you like the content, right? And then I want you to share it, okay? Just grab the link, let your friends, family, neighbors, networks know that Bishop Wayne, the business bishop, is engaged in another kingdom conversation, an international Bible study. It's epic, it's transformational, and whatever it does for you, I'm sure it will do for others. So please do go ahead and share. Finally, I want you to utilize the chat box as your virtual voice. Okay, so that if we say something that resonates with you at a deep level, I want you to shout, scream, make some noise, say something in the chat box. You can use emojis, fire emojis, heart emojis, hands clapping, hands raised, all of that. But let's keep it going, all right? Let's keep it going, keep it as interactive as we possibly can. All right, are you ready? Are you ready? Then let's go in. All right, tonight we are looking at part 2 in our series entitled Creating Your World. And tonight I want to address the divine order in creation, because there is an order when it comes to the creative process. And if you're going to create your world, you're going to have to put first things first and model God, who in the beginning introduces himself to us as the creator of heaven and earth, the maker of everything. And he literally shows us how he did it. And the reason he shows us how he did it is so that we might know how to do it. Because in fact, we are created to create. We are the image and likeness of God. We are made to make things and to make things happen. And so God, in fact, modeled the order of creation so that we would know how to do it. So if you're going to go about creating your own world, then let's employ the strategies of God revealed in the Genesis so that we can do it effectively and do it right. I guess tonight I'm talking about kingdom priorities and first things first. And we're going to cover three things tonight. We're going to look at the creative platform, okay? We're then going to look at creative space, and we're going to look at the creative priorities, okay? So if you're already excited about the subject tonight, please throw up some emojis in the chat box, and away we go. So I'm going to kick off with the creative platform. And this platform is revealed in Genesis 1, verse 1, as follows. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. So what we're looking at here is the creative platform. And certainly this is agreed upon by scientists who study the laws of physics. There's some real science involved in this verse, because what we see in one verse is time. In the beginning, God created the heaven, that's space, and the earth, that's matter. So here we see time, space, and matter in one verse as the platform for the rest of the creative process. In other words, first things first, you must have a platform. If you're going to create your world, you're going to need the creative platform, which is time, space, and matter. Now, of course, matter is considered in physics to be energy, because when you break material things down to their smallest components, material things are made out of energy. And so we could think of this as time, space, and energy. But I'm going to use time, space, and matter, because what the laws of physics have determined is that matter cannot exist outside of time and space. That matter cannot exist outside of time and space. So a physical object can only exist within the context of time and space. And that physical objects are made of energy, so in fact, you literally need time, space, and energy to materialize anything. And what I've written here, by way of applying this to the idea that we can create our own world, and if you want to know what I mean by that, you have to listen to the first in this series. But as we apply this, what it means is that you must first create time and space for the things that matter. Woo! And wow, that's a wow moment. Like, if you're going to change your life, if you're going to live the dream, if you're going to materialize your intentions or your ideas, if you're going to manifest your destiny, and if you're going to create an environment, an atmosphere, and a world that honors God and that fulfills you and that serves his kingdom, your generation, and your legacy, then you must first create time. You must have an in the beginning. You must first create time. And you must create space for the things that matter. Okay? And I'm going to kind of double apply this, because we've said that matter is really energy. You must first create time and space and energy. Okay? You're going to need time, you're going to need space, you're going to need energy. Because this is the creative platform. And without time, without space, without energy, you create nothing. Things simply cannot exist. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to look at time, I'm going to look at space, I'm going to look at matter. And I'm going to challenge you to create time for the things that matter. I'm going to challenge you to create space for the things that matter. And you're saying, well, Bishop, I'd love to have more time. I'd love to have more space, but I just don't have time. There's only 24 hours in a day and I'm overwhelmed and, somewhat stressed out and my to-do list is getting longer. Well, those are called excuses, okay? Those are called excuses. You're going to have to figure out what really matters to you in life. And if it really matters to you, then you must create time for it. If it really matters to you, you must create space for it. And I'm going to break that down now as follows, because I want to introduce you to something that helped me with my own time management and something that's helped others that I've been able to share it with their time management. And if you'd like some help with your own time management and your priorities management, can I see some emojis going up in the chat box? Because I want to introduce you now to the subject of time quadrants. Time quadrants, okay? And this is not an idea developed by myself. It's an idea that I've picked up along the way, as a result of reading lots of books and attending seminars and listening to authorities and experts in the various fields. And I came across this idea of the time quadrants, okay? And that's where we literally look at our use of time and we categorize everything that takes up our time. We categorize everything in terms of its urgency or its importance. Its urgency and its importance is pretty much how we're going to categorize our uses of time. So let's start with some definitions. So first of all, if something is urgent, it means that there are serious consequences for not taking immediate action. So if something's urgent, you have to deal with it. You have to take immediate action, and there'll be serious consequences for not taking immediate action. And if something places a demand on your time that will have serious consequences for not taking immediate action, then that thing is urgent, okay? That thing is urgent. Okay, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's important. So important here means that it is aligned with and advancing of your values and your life goals. Okay, so it's important, meaning it's important to you because of your values and because of your life goals. Okay, so you know where you want to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 2 years from now. You have some goals, right? On several levels. You got spiritual goals, you got health and fitness goals, you got love and family goals, you got career and financial goals. You kind of know where you want to be. And so anything that you do that advances those goals, that takes you a step closer to achieving your life goals, those things are important to you. Okay? Anything that aligns with your highest values, okay? So we tend to value, right? If I was to think of the hierarchy of values, right? It would be friends, it'd be family, it'd be finances. It'd be faith, not friends at the top. It'd be faith, family, okay? Finances, friends, your future, all of that, your values, right? Anything that's aligned with your values is important to you. So when you consider the urgent things that place a demand on your time and the important things that place a demand on your time, then you can begin to understand the time quadrants as follows. So quadrant 1 refers to things that are both urgent and important. Both urgent and important, okay? So if a member of your family has been taken into hospital, that is urgent. It's urgent that you drop what you're doing, that you go to the hospital. But it's not just urgent, it's important because you value your family. Okay? This requires immediate attention, or it advances your life goals. It is urgent and it is important. Now, how many of you want to live there? None of us. How many of you want to live there? Absolutely none of us. Because if you live there, it means that you're constantly responding to urgent and important things that are both urgent and important. You're constantly outing fires and you're jumping from one crisis to another. Okay? So we don't really want to live there, but we have to deal with that because emergencies come up, life happens, crisis occurs, and they occur. Sometimes it's important, and there'll be serious consequences for not taking immediate action. That's quadrant one. All right, quadrant two. Quadrant two, it's important, but not urgent. Wow. So hold on a second. It's important, meaning that it's aligned with your highest values, and it advances your progress towards achieving your life goals, okay? But there's no serious consequence for not taking immediate action, all right? So someone says, I'm going to write a book, all right? And I know several people who've been writing their book for the last 5 years. And the reason they've been writing it for 5 years is because although, the book and telling their story or sharing their knowledge and wisdom is important to them, it is not urgent, okay? There are no serious consequences, no serious obvious consequences for not taking immediate action. And this is true of any health and fitness goals. It's typically true of any of your domestic and family-oriented goals. Very often, the things that matter, right, are put to the back, right? And the people that mean the most to us often get the least or the worst of us, because even though it's important, it's not urgent, okay? So there are some things placing a demand on your time that are important, but they're not urgent. Okay, so here's quadrant number 3. It's urgent, but not important. So in the first quadrant, things are urgent and important. In the second quadrant, in the third quadrant, they're urgent, but they're not important. So it requires immediate attention, but it's unrelated to your personal values and life goals. Okay. Now, typically something kicks off at work. Typically something kicks off for someone else, and you've been called upon, to help, to assist. And you're going to run in, you're going to do the best that you can. You're going to respond to what is an emergency. But even once you've responded to the emergency, right, you are no closer to achieving your life goals because it was urgent, but it was not important. And finally, the fourth quadrant is where things are not urgent and not important, okay? So in that category would come things like the amount of time consumed watching TV, the amount of time consumed browsing social media, the amount of time that's consumed socializing. They're neither urgent, right? And in many cases, not important. So when we look at the time quadrants, the big question here is, where do you want to spend most of your time? Where do you want to spend most of your time? Okay, so the answer from me is quadrant 2. I want to spend most of my time in quadrant 2, working on things that are important to me, but they're not urgent, because it's in quadrant 2 that books and courses are written. It's in quadrant 2 that people achieve their health, wellness, and fitness goals. It's in quadrant 2 that people enrich their domestic family life. It's in quadrant 2 that people explore their faith and get deeper connections with God and understandings of His Word. It's in quadrant 2 that life goals are advanced. It's in quadrant 2 that you make meaningful and measurable progress towards your dreams, design, and destiny. It's in quadrant 2 that you're going to refurbish your house. It's in quadrant 2 that you're going to declutter your life. It's in quadrant 2 that the things that matter get done. So I want to spend most of my time in quadrant 2. Is there anybody else that want to spend more time in quadrant 2? Absolutely. Okay. So where do you want to spend least of your time? Here's the next big question. Where do you want to spend the least of your time? You want to spend the very least of your time in quadrant 4. Because in quadrant 4, your time is being consumed by things that are neither urgent nor important. You are scrolling through and browsing social media for hours on end. You are having meaningless conversations with friends about nothing, with either text messages or conversations on the phone or going out and socializing for no particular reason. Okay? You're consuming way too much TV, Netflix, videos, YouTube. And guess what? I want to spend as little as my time as possible in quadrant 4. All right. Now, when it comes to quadrants 1 and 3, what pulls us into these quadrants is the urgency. Okay? Now, I don't want to spend most of my time in quadrant 1 because in quadrant 1, I am outing fires. I am literally spending my life solving problems that need to be solved and responding to emergencies and managing crises. And that's a formula for stress, but it's also a sure way of making sure that you never get into quadrant 2 where you can really create a world, where you can really design a life, where you can really pursue your destiny, your purpose, and your promises. These things keep you tired. They drain your energy. They break your focus. They consume your resources. So you don't really want to be here, okay? You want to mitigate this. You understand that at times you need to be here, but you don't want to live there. And finally, you want to, you want to spend as little time as possible in quadrant 3. Again, urgency brings you into it. But it's very important for you to know that first things first and kingdom priorities mean that the main thing is to keep the main thing, okay? And that kingdom priorities and first things first and the order in creation means that you need to major in majors and minor in minors, because if you major in minors, you'll minor in majors. Woo! If you major in minors, you will minor in majors. And that's my way of saying that some of us need to be delivered from our own messianic complexes, where we feel like we can save everyone, we can save everything, that everything's going to fall apart if we are not there, that people who were getting along just fine before us are somehow not going to get along after us. And this is a messianic complex that, again, depletes your energy, breaks your focus, and makes it very difficult for you to spend time in the quadrant that matters the most. So when I look at my tasks, my list of tasks, and the things for which I am responsible, I want to shuffle things around. I want to make sure that my A tasks, my A tasks, all right, are the things that I really need to do in order to advance my destiny. Okay, I want to make sure that my B tasks don't take preference over my A tasks. My B tasks are the things that would be nice to do. Okay, they'd be nice to do, but they are not important enough to constitute, my highest value use of time. And then there are some other things on my list that I need to delegate, okay? Things on my list that I need to delegate. And there are things on my list that I need to eliminate because they don't need to be done at all. So it's very important that we create time, first of all. People say, well, I've got no time. I know I need to be studying. I know I need to be reading more. I know I need to be writing. I know I need to be building, designing. But I just don't have time. The reason you don't have time is because of things that are urgent and important, urgent but not important, not urgent or not important. If you can begin to cut down and cut out the things that are not urgent or important, the things that are urgent but not important, if you can cut down and cut out, you're going to find that you have carved a space. Sometimes it's very early in the morning, okay? Sometimes it's during your travel time, okay? Because we're in an age where there's no excuse for not learning because virtually everything that's been written has an audio version. And the audio version means that you can convert travel time into your own mobile university where you are learning on the go. Create time and space for the things that matter. Now, I want to talk about creative space, okay? Creative spaces, because if you are going to successfully design a life, live a dream, create a world that honors God, that fulfills you, and that serves his kingdom, your generation, and your legacy. If in fact you're going to do that, which is why I assume that you're on the broadcast tonight, then you must create space. So you must create time and you must create space. And creating space means decluttering your life. Decluttering your life. Somebody need to scream. Declutter your life. Quit hoarding and make room for the new you. So you know what hoarders are like, right? Hoarders just can't let go of anything, all right? And so you've got clothes that you haven't worn for 10 years and that you're never ever going to wear, but you still got them in your house. You got items, right, that you haven't used for 5 years and you're never going to use, but you still got them in your house. You got junk, right? You got stuff that you're hoarding because of a it really is a psychological disposition where there is this fear, okay, that at some point in the future you will suffer lack, you will be without. And so because of this fear of failure in the future, you're thinking, let me keep these clothes because one day I may not have any clothes and I'm going to need these clothes. So let me keep this old gadget because one day I may fail and then I'm going to need it. And really, that is doubt, fear, negativity, unbelief, and a failure complex. It's an inferiority complex. And it cannot attract into your life new things because those new things are got to compete with these old things. So you want to declutter your life, and I'm going to talk about decluttering from things, but you can't really declutter from things until you first declutter from hoarding negative thoughts. And the most toxic and the most debilitating thoughts are past regrets, okay? So look, if you're hoarding guilt and shame and regret from decisions you made in the past, it's going to be very difficult for you to create that creative space to begin imagining and designing the future because you're stuck in your past, okay? At some point, you're going to have to agree with God. What did I say? you're going to have to agree with God. Your sins are forgiven. How is it that God can forgive you, but you can't forgive you? Listen, if God has forgiven you, then please don't exalt yourself against the knowledge of God by holding your mistakes against yourself, given that God isn't holding them against you. So eliminate past regret and eliminate future fear. Okay? So past regret and future fear are the things cluttering our minds. What do I mean by future fear? It's that fear of failure in the future, that fear of lack in the future that makes us hoard things, hold on to things, because we believe, sometimes at a conscious level, but most times at a subconscious level, we believe that we're going to need these things at some point in the future. Now, you haven't worn them, you haven't used them in the last 5 years, in some cases 10 years, in some cases 25 years. You haven't used them, you haven't needed them, and yet there's a fear that you're going to need them one day. Well, why don't we just replace that fear with a faith that new and better clothes, things, items are in my future, okay? That new and better is in my future. Because that's what's going to allow you to then begin to declutter your space from actual things. And this is why we move into the second column, declutter your house and create room to think. Okay? Now I've put here perhaps a fire sale or gifts to charity. And here's what I mean by that. And I'm gonna break this down. I hear people telling me, right? And of course, you know, many of you know, I'm in the business coaching space, executive coaching space, business consulting, kingdom consulting, and I do help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve their dreams and their goals. All right. And I also help people transition from employee to entrepreneur. Now, typically, when people are transitioning from employee to entrepreneur and they've got a great business idea, they run into this little issue of seed capital, okay? Seed capital, where they need a few $1,000s to invest in their business idea in order to get started. And here's what they'll typically claim. Well, I just don't have it. I just don't have it. All right. You know, and I even have people say, oh, Bishop, I'd love to do one of your programs. I'd love to do one of your courses. I'd love to do one of your masterclasses, but I just don't have it. Well, according to the Bible, you always have it. I said, according to the Bible, you always have it. You are never down to nothing, because the something you have, something you already have from God, is the key to everything else that God has promised you, which is why the prophet Elisha said to a widow woman who thought she was down to nothing, what do you have in the house? And all she had was a pot of oil. So the first question, when you're trying to raise seed capital to invest in a better future, the first question is, what do I have in the house? Because you may find that you have enough in your house to put it on eBay, to make it available for others to buy, so that there's actually several $1,000s just hoarding in your house. And I've known people that have had as much as $10,000 and $20,000 in goods that they are hoarding in the house because of a subconscious fear of failure in the future. It's not even sentimental. It's not even an emotional attachment. It's fear of failure in the future. And they're hoarding when they could be selling and raising the seed capital to invest in a startup business or in one of the Bishop's amazing programs. All right, what about gifts to charity? Do you know that all these things you're hoarding in your house, there are some desperate people in some developing parts of the world that would really make use of those things? And yet we've got them in the attic, we've got them in the garage, we've got them in every room and every closet. We've got spare everything. And there are people in the world who would treat these things as new and make the most of them. So what about donating some of this stuff to charity? Woo! All right, the third aspect of decluttering so that you can have creative space is to get toxic, draining, demanding people out of your inner circle. See, you need to identify draining people and time wasters. Avoid them and seek out positive energies. And so there are some people in your life who are depleting your energy. They are draining your energy. They are wasting time. They are breaking focus. They bring drama. And as they bring more drama, they make you responsible for the drama that they bring. There are people in your life that actually are either jealous of you or envious of you. I didn't know I was going to go here tonight, but I might as well. And say that for me, there's a difference between jealousy and envy, right? Jealousy is when somebody wants what you've got. But envy is when they don't believe you deserve what you have. And there are some people around you that want what you've got. There are others who don't believe you deserve what you have. Woo, that was just kind of deep. You need to identify those people and begin to create barriers around your time and barriers around your space and avoid that sort of company. Remember, there are some people who have a very limited worldview and a scarcity mentality. And in their mind, if you're winning, they're losing. They're constantly, subconsciously competing with you. Call themselves friends. In some cases, they call themselves family, but they're competing with you. So that if you get a new car, they feel embarrassed, right? Instead of being inspired by the fact that you have a new car, they feel intimidated by it. And so they're always subconsciously pulling you down, questioning your motives, accusing you of shortcutting, and saying, well, if I took the shortcuts you did, then I'd be where you are. And sometimes they don't say this verbally, but they're saying it with their behavior, their attitudes. The framing of their conversation is basically saying that they are not here to celebrate your success, your rise. They think that you should stay in your lane, know your role, occupy your station, and not try to embarrass them by making progress, by getting the education, by building the business, by earning more money, by upgrading your lifestyle, by getting a new house, by getting a new car, by wearing nicer clothes and accessories, by taking more lavish holidays. Who do you think you are? You're embarrassing us. You've left us. You think you're better than us. Those kinds of people are toxic. They are draining. They are time wasters. And you need to declutter your space because you're going to need some creative space in order to design your future. You want to hang around with people, seek out, connect with, and hang around with people who celebrate success, who celebrate progress, people who are kingdom-minded. Woo and wow. People who are kingdom-minded and people that want your highest good. And so I now want to deal with the creative priorities. We looked at creative, we looked at time, we looked at space. I want to talk about priorities because that's where your energy goes. Okay? So time, space, and matter are allocated for the order of creating. Now, here's what God said to Adam. Okay? Very first thing God did for the man he created. According to the Genesis, it says, and God blessed them, and God blessed them, and God blessed them. If that's the first thing God did, then that's God's highest intention and will for you, is the blessing, okay? John says it in the New Testament, beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. I wish you total prosperity. And God's desire for you is that you be blessed, Blessed in the city and in the field. Blessed when you come and when you go. Blessed in your waking. Blessed in your sleeping. God wants you blessed, okay? But he then gives the order of the blessing. And God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, okay? And have dominion. Woo! So there's an order here. It's be, do, have. Be fruitful, do multiply, have dominion. Be fruitful, do multiply, replenish the earth, subdue it. Be fruitful, do, and you can have. And that's an order. It's an order in creation. And when you miss the creative order, what happens is you try to have something so you can do something so you can be someone. And when you're trying to get something so you can do something so you can be someone, you're out of order, okay? Other people are trying to do something so they can be someone so they can have something. It's out of order. The first thing is being. Being is first in the order of creation. Whatever you want to create, okay, you must become the person in the picture of your purpose and plan. So you must become the person that fits the picture, okay? So whatever you're trying to create, you must develop the mindset, the skill set, and the tool set necessary to create that. Because it requires more than a tool set to create. It requires a mindset and a skill set. So you must go to work on the mindset and the skill set that make the tool set capable of building, that will basically enable you to use your tool set. Because tools are only as good as the technician that uses them. So this is the being. This is why we emphasize personal development, personal growth. This is why you are wise to plug in to this channel, to plug in to this voice, to plug in to this kingdom thing, because it's stretching you, it's growing you, it's shifting paradigms, it's updating, upgrading the software, the operating system of your mind. Okay, and you are becoming the person that fits the picture. You are becoming the person who can do the things that you need to do in order to have the things that you want to have. It's your becoming, and this is why time, space matter. Time is for being. Woo and wow. See, you need the time to become. You need to invest time in reading relevant books, time in attending relevant webinars, seminars, and masterclasses, time with a mentor or a coach, time upgrading your mindset, skill set, tool set. Time is for being. Space is for doing, okay? Because being, having the mindset, skill set, and tool set still's not going to give you what you want in the end. You have to now do something in order to get something. But when your doing comes out of your highest being, then what you do is effective. Because guess what? There's a difference between activity and productivity. Woo, that's so good. So you can be very active but not productive. There is a difference between effort and effect. Woo. So some people are making a lot of effort, but there's no effect. Okay? So the reality is that if you're going to be effective and if you're going to be productive, then your doing must come out of your highest being. Because if your doing comes out of your lowest being, if your doing comes out of your laziest being, if your doing comes out of your lethargic being, then your doing will be ineffective and unproductive. Woo and wow. Now, when you are being and you are doing, you can have. You begin to reap the rewards and the benefits of doing things excellently, properly, professionally, to the highest standards because of the person that you are. Now you get to have dominion. Now you become the steward over vast treasures and resources. Now you get to enjoy your possessions, and you can enjoy them without apology and without explanation. You don't have to dumb yourself down so that people around you feel smart. You don't have to belittle yourself to make people around you feel big. And you don't have to act poor to make people around you feel rich. You can enjoy the fruit of your labor if you follow the order in creation. You can enjoy the fruit of your labor and possess your possessions without apology or explanation. Woo! And wow, and wow. So look, guess what? My masterclass from wisdom to wealth, literally is on May the 11th, okay? May the 11th, my masterclass from wisdom to wealth, 3 hours of elite training, as well as some tools, some takeaways, some bonus material, a consultation, all of that. Because in this masterclass, I literally show you nuts and bolts how to convert thoughts in your head, ideas in your head, experiences that you've had into actual money. I show you how to convert your wisdom into wealth. And it's not like a webinar where I introduce the idea to you. This is nuts and bolts. I'll actually show you how to do it. How to take your principles, package them, price them, and position them in the marketplace. I will show you how to become a modern day King Solomon, trading in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Where knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is the product, guess what? There are thousands, if not millions of people praying that you'll package your principles, that you'll convert your life lessons into a lifeline. They're literally praying that you'll make your wisdom available. And I'll show you who they are, how to find them, and how to monetize your very mind. I've enjoyed being with you. And until the next time, peace out and shalom. I want you to watch this advert before you leave. And I want you to keep the comments coming in the chat box. Share this with someone that needs to know it. They'll thank you for it. In Jesus' name. Hi friends, I trust that you enjoyed that message. I recently hosted a webinar entitled Mind Over Money, in which I challenged the people to get money off their minds and instead to get the money from their minds. Let's face it, there's infinitely more money in your mind than there is in your bank, your wallet, or your hand. The big question is, how do you get money from your mind and into your hand? This webinar answers that question. You can view the webinar today by clicking the link in the description below this video. To your peace and lasting prosperity, Bishop Wayne Malcolm. All right, good people. I'm going to leave you with that. So you saw the advert. Look, there's a webinar. You can access it right now. Mind Over Money. It's absolutely fascinating. The description beneath this video, there's a link. You can grab it. Please do watch that webinar, particularly if you're on the fence about joining the masterclass. Now, I want to say this last thing about the masterclass. it may be the last live masterclass that I do on this particular subject. Typically, if you've been following me for a while, I tend to do live for about 3 sessions, and then around about the 3rd or 4th session, it's recorded, it's there, and people can access it without the live. So this may be the last live from Wisdom to Wealth. It may be the last live from Wisdom to Wealth. I'm going to encourage you to sign up now. And again, the link is in the description. At least visit the page, see if it's something that might be an answer to your prayers, and I hope to see you there. Much love. Peace out. Shalom.
Of every obstacle, I'm moving ahead unstoppable, knowing nothing's impossible if only I believe. I'm reaching for the unreachable, feeling for the intangible, looking for the invisible, because I believe. Totally, I'm totally unstoppable. Let me tell you now, every obstacle presents an opportunity. Every rock I see a stepping stone. The only limitation is in my imagination. Doesn't matter what they say, I'm gonna do it anyway. There's no triumph without a trial, no gain without the pain, no glory without a story, no might without the fight.